What's going on, people?
What up? What up? What up, Joe?
What's going on,
What up,
y'all?
what up, what up, what up?
Welcome to the show for what's today, 17th of August,
August.
Tuesday. Oh man, it's been a crazy day, crazy week,
4 more months left of the year. Isn't that some shit?
something like that. So today's show is entitled "I Don't Know You and You're Not My Ally." We're gonna talk about a lot of people who claim to be allies that don't meet the criteria, and then they don't perform up to the standards either. Isn't that right, Ernest?
Man, yeah, I know that that's the story for Black Americans. I think we all familiar with fake allies. You know, at this point, we need co-conspirators. So,
All right. So I'm Darvell. I'm sitting here not just too far from 8 Mile here in Detroit, coming to you live. I'm gonna hand it to Ernest Stedman and leave it off with Jay Rocky.
yep, this is your boy Ernest touching base out here in Lansing. Been out a few shows, but I'm back in action now, man. At COVID ain't no joke.
Ain't no joke, people. Get your vaccines, man, if you can, or at least wear a mask, goddammit.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Sid.
Stedman here, man. You know, as y'all said, man, it's been just trash going on in the news, man. I guess not more than normal, just sometimes it hit different, bro. So whenever we can dive into this, man.
Yo, this your resident East Side Detroiter. You know what I'm saying? Adopted. Really, I was from the West Side, downriver area. But anyways, Adolph J. Rocky, man, coming here to give my perspective along with my brothers here on the current events that have been hitting the Detroit area and the country at large.
Cool. So let's get right into it. You know, we always start off with the local beat, isn't that right, guys?
Yeah.
What's the local beat today? Troubled Detroit sergeant sued at least 8
Them
times.
boys. Them boys.
But hold on.
Don't tell me it's another racist white cop doing some. Don't tell me it's another racist white cop.
No, wait up, man. His name is Stephen Q. What's going on? Who is he?
I don't know who this guy.
Yeah, that's a weird name for a racist white cop, but we're gonna get to the bottom of this.
A troubled Detroit police sergeant who has been the subject of at least 85 civilian complaints since 2009 has been sued at least 8 times throughout his career. A 7 Action News investigation reveals the settlements alone have cost Detroit taxpayers over $750,000, $830,000.
Bro, that sounds like a reparations package right there per family, don't it?
Wow.
Don't it? Ain't that the number? Ain't that the Gary's number, right?
100,000.
Wow, dude.
That's why they gotta overcharge on your taxes for your house because they gotta pay this motherfucker shit.
Wow,
Man.
one cop,
bro.
Damn near $1 million.
Damn near $1 million.
So they only removed this sergeant, Stephen Koo, from his patrol duty last week after a 7 Action News investigation revealed the officer's staggering number of civilian complaints, alleging he harassed people of color. First of all, when you go through, there's only one guy who isn't black. He was Chaldean. I think it's safe to say that one of the most prominent activities he carried out was using the N-word in terms of harassment. So I don't know that people of color really needs to go. I don't know that we need to water it down on people of color. I think he was harassing black people, especially in the city of Detroit.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
So court records revealed that in Koo's 12 years with the department, he has been he's the most sued of officers too. So yeah. Have any of y'all ran across this guy in the forest out in the streets?
No, I can
Hope
say
not.
it luckily happens.
Hope not.
Yeah, I mean,
hope not, bro.
To be honest with you, Detroit has a predominantly black police officer force, and and I can only speak, anecdotally about my interactions with them, and for the most part, man, DPD, man, are being that I've lived in other cities. Shit, I was just sitting in the park the other night, literally last night, and some damn Romulus police pulled up on me, man, sitting in the park, just minding my business, watching a doggone podcast. Dude, you don't really that type of harassment by the DPD, like not really. I haven't come across it. Not to say it doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So for this guy to be having that many complaints, you know, like this is, to me, it just sounds like out of the norm from my experience dealing with DPD. Obviously, we saw the guy, you know, our last show, we saw a black cop knock another black man down. You know, it's not like DPD is in, you know, black cops are you know, free of doing harassment. But you know, generally speaking, man, like that's a lot, dude. 85 complaints. Like, wow.
What I think is the video with this article. It says something like the average is between 2 and 3 complaints a year.
Yep. Yep.
And this guy got 85 in 12 years, bro.
So what would that average be if we broke that down? Somebody got a calculator?
Oh,
Well,
no.
if it was 60, it'd be 5 a year.
Yeah.
So it's 72 is 6 a year.
84, that's 7 a year.
Yeah, man. So listen, now here's the thing. We talked about holding, you know, officials accountable and having representation. And we talking about today how just because, you know, how I don't know you and you're not my ally. And we just came out of this primary too, where folks are failing to understand who is really their ally for the city of Detroit and who isn't. We look at this story, the second story that talks about the same topic, but it talks about the point of view of the police commissioners, right? The police commissioners are the ultimate authority body that people can go to outside of city council to hold the police department accountable, right? So what it shows here in this piece is that 2 commissioners responsible for overseeing the Detroit Police Department say that the city is failing to police some of its most troubled police. Their comments came in response to this segment by 7 Action News. And here's one. Willie Bell, you know Willie Bell, a longtime member of the board, said he was totally shocked that the department would tolerate the 85 complaints filed against Koo since 2009, more than 10 times the department average. Until you exposed him, he was getting away with it and got promoted and probably would be promoted to lieutenant, Bell said. And that's true because I seen this segment in the news, right, where they unanimously like voted to promote him to sergeant, even though he had complaints on his record.
3 months after they had found, what was it, 3 months after they overturned a decision to fire him, they promoted him to sergeant, bro.
Wow, 3 months?
3 months, bro.
You didn't have to sit a whole freaking year off that. That's wild, dude. That's wild. In a predominantly black city, dude. You know what I mean? This is why Detroiters, why you must show up to the polls. What was our total? Our grand total was like what? I think 12%.
No, 15. They came in just under 15%. There's like 14.4 of the city's voting populace came out.
Okay, 15%. Still, that's hella low.
14.
You know what I mean? 14, 15% is hella low. This is why you have to show up, guys, because see, this is $1 billion city, guys, multi-billion, like at least 2 or 3. And if you don't show up to these polls and really flex your muscles, you know what I'm saying? This type of thing is going to constantly happen. You know, I mean, even the election, bro, like, you know, freaking, they had the numbers somewhere 30-something thousand for the city clerk, 30-something thousand for Duggan, and these were quote unquote mail ballots that I never received. I get mail ballots and I don't even get them. You know, some funny business going on here, man. That's all I can say. It's a funny business with this.
So again, we got to remember, like, you know, do I know you and are you my ally? But in this case, today's show, I don't know you're not my ally. Ernest, maybe you or Stedman can speak to. I don't know this man's ethnic backdrop, but it don't look like he black. Yeah. But even if he was black, that don't mean nothing because the police chief who allowed him to get promoted was black.
Yeah, I mean, when we take into account the fact that, like you said, Detroit is 85% black, we gotta hold black officers accountable. At this point, they are a part of a culture of negligence and racism. If we take into account that these folks would be up in arms with this Q guy just off a simple means of a union and police representation. Like this is the reality we dealing with, where we got. I mean, I think that's coonism right there, right? Like you really just falling for, the rules of the system and the rules of engagement when it comes to our people, but when everyone else is, supposed to be held accountable, they are. And so I think that's one of the things we dealing with.
So let's show a quick video, because we started talking about, I just mentioned that the police chief was James Craig, former police chief, now Republican gubernatorial candidate. I don't know what he's doing, but we got a new police chief, right? We got an interim police chief, right?
Yeah.
He black. What he talking about? Let's see what he talking about, right? Let's see what he talking about. Let's play a little quick video for the people.
I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Dave Llewellyn. Interim Chief James White is asking questions related to a recent 7 Action News investigation. One of his sergeants is now on administrative duty after over 80 complaints of racism and repeated excessive force.
7 Action News reporter Nana Saint-Chu Bonsu has more from Interim Chief White and recent misconduct issues he is now looking into.
I saw the news story, and it gave me some concern.
Interim Police Chief James White is referring to a 7 Action News piece investigating Sergeant Stephen Q. In his 12 years with the Detroit Police Department, Q has 85 citizen complaints, including accusations of using racist language.
He just said he's just another stupid.
James Brown files a complaint about the then officer Q back in 2015.
If you feel that strongly about the color of my skin, you probably shouldn't be an officer in the city of Detroit.
Now the interim police chief is looking into his department's cases, including Jay Brown's complaints.
It's anyone, but not just Sergeant Q. With that number of cases, that number of complaints, along the same lines, the same trend line, are they capable of having a job as important as one in the Detroit Police Department?
He says wearing a badge is not a right, but it's a privilege.
And you have to conduct yourself in a manner that supports that privilege.
Right now, he's asking questions and challenging leaders within the department.
Are we inspecting what we expect? Are we ensuring that our supervisors are looking at mass profiles and ensuring that if someone has a pattern and practice of conduct that is being addressed?
Interim Chief White is addressing another misconduct allegation incident that took place on June 30th.
An incident involving 2 officers who responded to a serious issue or serious incident involving a shooting and their response to that incident.
The department says due to a pending investigation, they are unable to release additional details in this case. But what we do know is that the incident was caught on camera and is now being...
Yeah, we covered that one like last week, right?
We did. We don't want to get into that one.
So how many times have we seen, and this is just for the audience, how many times have we seen the media roll out a black police chief to explain the racist actions of any officer of different ethnic groups?
Oh yeah, we remember that one time. I can remember when the girl she got her car towed because she didn't have insurance in the middle of the winter, and 2 white cops in DPD, was making fun of her, calling her names as she was walking down the street because she just got her car towed because she didn't have car insurance. Here's the thing, guys. You know what I'm saying? Here's the crazy thing about all of this. Due to my experience being in the Michigan Army National Guard, I know a lot of officers. I know more, like at least 4 or 5, right? Mm-hmm. That I served with in the infantry, because most of these guys, that's what they do. They go into the infantry, or they're in combat arms, and then that kind of parlays that those skills really don't parlay into other type of civilian skills, but firefighter. And police. Here's the thing that here's one of the secrets that a lot of us citizens don't know. So Detroit City, so a lot of cops, right? They go to the academy. Sometimes it's funded through the actual taxpayer. Sometimes they fund themselves, right? So so it's kind of like a community college type setup. Now,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Or you can, you know, if a department is really, they can also, the department, they could fund it. They could fund it. They could actually put you through school, through the 2 years worth of school or whatever it is to be, you know, to go through the academy. And then a lot of times they end up hiring you afterwards. Or like I said, you could be self-enrolled, right? You can go through, put yourself through the academy. You don't have an actual police department that's going to put you through. You put yourself through. So afterwards, see, here's the thing. Detroit, we don't have the money to hire, you know, people coming out of school with a lot of money, you know. So cops coming in, like cops coming straight out of school, you know, rookie cop, you know, Detroit is going to get you about maybe 30,000, maybe to 35,000.
What?
Yeah,
Cash?
yeah, annually wise, but that's kind of low compared to what other suburban police departments can actually pay annually. Okay. Right. We're talking about base salaries. We're just talking about base salaries, guys. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of overtime. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing when it comes to public servants. Or overtime, these cats could be making six figures with overtime. You know what I'm saying? But that's much later down the road. We're talking about coming straight out of school.
Okay.
Right? So because Detroit doesn't have a high, we can't afford to like bring in new officers at like rates that maybe suburban police departments that put
Royal Oak
school. Yeah, exactly. We can't afford to, you know what I'm saying, offer like, you know, maybe 40, 50, whatever, right, for a cadet coming out of school. We're at the lower end or what have you. You know what I'm saying? We're actually pulling, and also because of, you know, there's not a lot of Detroiters, unfortunately, because of the way things are set up, they're even eligible to even go through police, you know, school, right? So we end up pulling. So make a long story short, we end up pulling a lot of non-Detroiters, a lot of suburban people. We end up actually paying for their education to go through this process of being a cadet. Then after they've gone through the school, we hire them as a DPD officer. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Now Detroit, with you know, being one of the probably the most active cities in the United States, let alone in the state of Michigan. Okay, you do your 2 or 3, 4 years here. You know what I'm saying? You're right. Just kind of like out in the NFL, right? You come in a rookie contract. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you show out. You know what I mean? And you're like, hey, you know, you show out, you do good. I'm trying to give an analogy, right? Like you go to the Patriots or some of these, you know, big, you know, you got this monster production. That's what it is to be a DPD, you know, officer. You're respected throughout the nation.
Oh, so it's a come up job.
It's a come up. You know what I'm saying? Then what ends up happening? You do your time. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? You leave and go to
LAPD,
urban town, you know, area where they can pay you base salary 60, 70 G's. You know what I'm saying? Not including overtime. You know what I mean?
They doing that with cops? Is cops pulling G's? I mean, they should do something, but I hear so bad about cop pay.
Yeah, they get paid, bro. I know in Atlanta before I left, they was trying to get people to do to be cops, and they was starting them out at 54,000. This was like 2015 or 48,000,
right?
In 2015.
Detroit during that. Now this might have changed, guys. It probably has changed, you know, since after bankruptcy. But like prior to bankruptcy or right around that time, that's when I moved to the city. You know what I mean? Also, I came into the Guard in 2016. Like I said, I know people personally that are DPD police officers that I served with that were my soldiers. You know what I'm saying? That I was over with. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they'd be like, "Hey, Sergeant Page, blah blah blah." But in reality, you know, come, you know, flip the script outside of the Guard. I'll be like, you know, "Hey, what's going on?" Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? They're actually DPD police officers, man.
So here's the thing, though. Like we talked about this guy, and he's, you know, so you're saying that basically they want to keep him around because they paid for him and they trained him up.
Well, here's the thing. No. This what I'm trying to say is maybe so, but what I'm trying to say is how do we have we've had these multiple incidents, you know, him included, and other like quote unquote non, you know, freedmen, right?
Okay.
You know, non-Detroiters. I would bet to say, and I would, you know, again, this is all anecdotal, but you know, and we don't have the hardcore data. But I would bet to say that most of the Detroit DPD police do not live in Detroit.
We got to run that. That's, you know what? There was a discussion about that needs to be a requirement. Remember that discussion that happened? It was a discussion like we got to have officers, and the requirement to be an officer, you have to live in the city.
That was
you got to keep your uniform on all the time, keep yourself safe. But that don't do you no good, because we go back to old girl. So I seen a clip about old girl. Right. Who actually said, I'm saying old girl like people know, but the officer, remember the story we covered last time where the officers who drove away from the scene where the guy pulled out the gun? Well, one of the officers, I guess the officer who was behind the steering wheel, was actually a female. And she went on video and was being interviewed by the news with her lawyer. And she said that the reason she pulled off was because basically their life was in jeopardy because somebody somewhere had a gun with a laser pointer on it pointed at them. That's what she said. So she seen the red light and she said, we got to go. But they turned back around within 30 seconds and came and got old man's. But the point was they took off because they said they got a light on them. So, I mean, if they got a light on them and they in the cop car and you're running from that in the cop car where you got the guns and the backup and the sensors and everybody going to come looking for you if you don't show back up at the shift or you don't respond to your radio, what's going to happen when you in the civilian car and you – I'm not trying to say anything, but I mean to the point, like people ain't moving to Detroit.
To that point, Darville, I say, bringing it back to the article, the guy got a promotion, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we know in most cases, even in the police force, like we're looking at Rodney King and all of these situations, these cops get promotions whether they go to a new police department or if they stick with the one that they're at. And I just wanted to, mention to our audience, if you go read the Christopher Dorner Manifesto, you'll realize that Black cops are in a unique position just being in the police force alone. Yet even if they served in the military, I would say, and I know Gerard, you could speak to that a little bit, but in the Christopher Dorner Manifesto, he mentioned how he had to train in the academy with white folks who fantasize with the Nazi era and rookie cadets singing, Hitler songs, etc. Then he went on to say that the department has not changed from the blank and blank days. Those officers are still employed and have all been promoted to command staff and supervisory positions. He says, I will correct this error. Are you aware that an officer, a rookie probationer at the time, seen on the Rodney King videotape striking Mr. King multiple times with a baton on 3/3/91 is still employed by the LAPD? And
Wait.
Department. This was in his manifesto. So, this is going, it's racial, it's racially motivated.
Explain a little bit, man, about who Chris was. Okay. A lot of people don't even know, dude.
Yeah. So Christopher Dorner, Black American, definitely most likely a freedman, served time in the military on intel units, and et cetera. And after leaving the military, he ended up joining the LAPD. So he went through the police academy, joined LAPD, but to his surprise, there was an enormous amount of racism. He watched white cops, white women, Hispanic cops violate Black people in LA, specifically the homeless, the disabled. And unlike many other cops, he broke the blue line when he actually reported a woman cop who kicked, she supposedly kicked someone who was disabled in the face, and this person was homeless. So he reported that. And to his surprise, he ended up getting the cold shoulder from the whole force and labeled as a traitor. And they slowly picked at his integrity and his ethics. And long and behold, he wrote a manifesto detailing how he was going to get his own personal revenge, because I think ultimately they, blackballed him into a position where he almost had to leave the force or was possibly about to leave the force because they stated that he lied on the officer. So he wrote an entire manifesto detailing all of his experiences and explaining exactly why he was going after certain officers in the LAPD force for what they did to him. And he did act upon those things, and they ultimately killed him, but he took out probably 2 or 3 of them in that process. So I would tell you to look up the manifesto, but the key thing of his manifesto is how he highlights the racism that is abundant in the police force and even was possibly prevalent in the military. The reality is, unlike all of the other Black officers who out here just pretending that this stuff doesn't exist, he took action. Same with the Dallas snipers. So, I mean, America, if we don't come to a point where we want willing to correct this behavior, we will have more of those type of vigilantes or refugees. I mean, not even refugees, but let's just say vigilantes. Yeah, for the black cause. We will have those people who truly stand for our people rising up. So,
but you know, the crazy thing about that, Ernest, is, man, like, for instance, like, we had to explain who this person was. I knew who he was. You know what I'm saying? I remember the incident. Actually, my brother had schooled me more about the manifesto, right? And go into more detail. But what ends up happening is, like, you know, the what he did is focused on, but not the why. That's always kind of hidden, you know, in the shadows. The media never covered that. You know, they'll just cover the sensationalism, what bleeds, what leads. Won't go, you know, I'm trying to make this person to be like completely just, you know, ridiculous and so on and so forth, you know, and just like, oh, well, you know, this, he's just crazy or whatever, right? You know what I mean? I mean, from the, you know, the DC snipers, they were, you know what I'm saying, the guy who led them, he was a ex-military guy, you know what I mean? And so we don't, the guy in Dallas that killed those police officers, shot at those police officers back during Obama's administration, and you talking about Chris Bonner, that was what, Bush? Was that Bush?
Yeah, possibly Bush.
Yeah, Bush administration or Clinton, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, dude, all of this stuff is all mixed up. And the point that I was trying to bring about earlier is that we, as citizens, taxpayers, we're actually training these guys to abuse us. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, a lot of these guys, you know, because Detroit is so, because we have low, the pay that we offer people was kind of low compared to these other places, like Stedman said, 48, 54. We couldn't offer that. We're offering like 30,000, right, which is damn near poverty wage, right?
Yeah, right. That's what I was.
So, but nonetheless, it's still lucrative, right? People still, you know, from these other communities come in and they get trained and they do the time, you know what I mean? And then they can either parlay to something else or they can move up the ranks and then make overtime. Because that's what people don't understand. Because, see, the city as active as Detroit is when it comes to crime, you know what I mean? You can do overtime like left and right. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can fake overtime. There's been a lot of cases where there's been cases. I'm not necessarily about Detroit, but I've heard of cases. I've seen where officers or different public employees have, you know, fraudulently, you know, assess overtime at the city's dime, you know, in order to make more money for themselves. You know what I'm saying? This goes. I mean, like I said, this is a $2 to $3 billion city, and you see this all over. It's no different from Duggan giving out the contracts to the suburbs. You know, for all, you know, for the services that we get. You know what I mean? It's rife, dude. And we don't get the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and then we got a bunch of sellouts. You know, what we say. Dark faces in high places, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's all a money scammers. What can I get out of this? What can I get the bag out of at the end of the day? And it's you know, it's not about serving the people and giving back to the people. It's about what I can get out of it, or how, you know, and if they aren't, you know, doing bribery or whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying? It's okay. This is just a stepping stone to the next elected position, and then, you know, so on and so forth, you know, to wherever as high they can go.
So, I mean, as we talk about that, and I think that's a very important point, understanding that this stuff is not as a lot of people understand it, because it's more complex than that. We do have to ask ourselves, right? Does that mean that, you know, that, like you say, no black places and high places can be trusted necessarily their own for their face? Does that mean that we can trust, if we are in the second blackest city in America, quote unquote, Atlanta, and we have Atlanta officers who are black, can they be trusted with black people?
No, I mean, no. From personal experience. I mean, Atlanta's a really funny situation because what you see a lot from having lived there is you see the optics of a black city, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you see, like, when you actually look at, and it's not even so much behind the scenes, but when you look at who controls the purse strings of the city, it's white. You know what I'm saying? It's white money, it's white corporations, it's white interests. From the Home Depot guy, I forget his name now. Home Depot,
Arthur Blank.
Yeah, Arthur Blank.
Falcons.
You look at Home Depot, you look at Georgia Pacific with the paper, Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
I mean,
No different
Atlanta,
from GM,
right.
Dan Gilbert with Quicken Loans. We got
Exactly.
our version of it.
Right. And I mean, what you look at is primarily because the tax base in Detroit is so small, it's a lot less stark than Atlanta because you still have people there with money. You still have white people who live in the city of Atlanta heavily. And so it's a really a big contrast when you get to the black parts of town and the white parts of town, what the environment looks like, how the police treat you, how you're viewed by the people surrounding you. I mean, it's a very stark situation.
That's a good point, though. I never thought about it. I've always hated on Atlanta for principal reasons, but you have a good point there because I've told people that Atlanta may have a strong cultural, anchoring for the black community, but there's still something about it that's still white. There's something about it that doesn't hold the same anchoring like Detroit does. When I went down there, I kept running into white barbecue establishments on accident.
Yeah. I mean, when you
it's no different than Slows barbecue here in Midtown. That's white owned,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like we have the same issues, but maybe not as numerous or as publicized as maybe Atlanta is. But it's the same thing because it's Black America. No matter where you go, we don't have the resources to compete. And this is why we tie this back. That's why we're reparationists. We're not progressives. We're not conservatives. We're not liberals. We're reparationists. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that's the end result. Is that it has different flavors in different cities, but it's damn near the same tale, but just with a different flavor to it. Camden, New Jersey, Philly. You know what I'm saying? All of the northern cities, Atlanta, all the Chicago. It's the same shit. You know what I'm saying? You got some sort of, again, like you said, the tax base in the city is low. You know what I'm saying? Due to the fact that it's predominantly blacks because we've been robbed of having that generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? Due to the effects of slavery and all the other things that came after it. So then you have those who have money, i.e. the Dan Gilberts, the Illages, so on and so forth, right? We can talk about Arthur Blank or whatever his name is down in Atlanta, so on and so forth, right? Because we got population numbers, they got to play the game with us. At least they got to placate to us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they got to put a black face. They put a black face or they back a black face. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I think this makes sense. I wanted to parlay over into the Atlanta situation because I think it's a good time since we're talking about officers before we step back to the New York situation to talk more about our officers. So I want to show this quick video from WGXA down the way. And let's talk about what this means relating back to Mr. Q up here in Detroit.
Showing a handcuffed woman being kicked in the head by an officer that has many online outraged. The family of the woman just as horrified.
It was a woman down on the ground in handcuffs. Oh man, that I am totally horrified. I'm speechless. Not only that, it's a police officer.
The video, originally shared on the ATL Uncensored social media pages, was shot on Monday afternoon at an apartment complex in Summerhill, Atlanta. I spoke exclusively to the family and the woman who took the video.
She was spitting at the officer, and then she already spit at him once before, but it didn't get on him. So she spit at him again when it got on his boots, and that's when he decided to kick her in the face.
The neighbors saying it wasn't the only time the woman, Ashley, was kicked.
They actually kicked her down the hill and she went rolling.
She says she also confronted the officer.
We was like, why did you kick her? He was like, I didn't kick her. He didn't even know that somebody was recording him.
Her neighbor says EMS took Ashley to Grady, While the interview was happening, Ashley was dropped off by APD. Her family adding she does take medication.
And Ashley had some mental issues problems. We thought she was off her meds because they said she's been acting kind of off.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's no different, you know. So it's no different than what we saw the other night, but our last recording, right, when we witnessed the black cop punch the
Oh
black
yeah, punching. He was punching, boy. He's throwing some
yeah,
fists.
yeah, straight sucker punched him, you know. Now, mind you, we don't see what happened before. You know, we don't know.
For that one, for the one in the street. But I mean, we've seen enough.
You know what I'm saying? Because look, listen, they because I paid attention to what they were saying. When the one was in handcuffs on the ground and the guy kicked her, they was like, well, she tried to spit on him. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that's your job, dude. Like you signed up for this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You signed up for it, bro. You know what I mean? Like for instance, I was a soldier. Okay, and we had rules of engagement. And when I went over to Iraq the second time, you know what I'm saying? The Willie was the first time, but anyways, I was the second time I was in the Middle East. At that particular point in time, we had this policy that said that, hey, we had to share the roles with the Iraqis. In fact, they kept telling us, hey, look, if you guys been deployed before, this was my first time being deployed into Iraq. I've been to the Middle East, but it was my first time being deployed to Iraq. But there was a lot of guys who had been there back in 03, 04, back when the surge, when the violence was hella. Every time they came out the gate, they was freaking like, you know, having to shoot out, you know, and fight. At that time, they had a policy that said, hey, look, we don't give a damn who it is. We're not letting anybody inside of our convoys because they were using the vehicles as a IED. It was called a VBAD. A vehicle. So you have the right of a civilian vehicle by accident or on purpose. If it tried to get into our get into a military convoy, the U.S. had the policy at that particular point in time, back in 03 or whatever. You can push that vehicle out of the doggone way, push them out, you can push them off the road, whatever. Shoot at the vehicle, shoot warning signs, all of that. By the time I came back in 2010, you know, that had changed. The policy had changed. You know, because the Iraqis obviously, like, you know, had enough of it, whatever, right? You know, innocent people probably was getting caught up in that. And so you had to allow, you know what I mean? We had long vehicle convoys. That was what we did. Our job was to protect, 2 to 3 freaking mile long, you know, civilian trucks. We were the gun trucks to protect them. We had to deal with the RRE. We could not. And that's what they kept telling us. It's like, listen, this is not 03, 04, 05, whatever. You know, it's not 07. Like, listen. You know, if an Iraqi car gets in between your convoy, you have to let them be there. You cannot push them off the road. Now, the threat was still there. Who could say? It could be like, you know, a VBAD for real. It could be a terrorist group or whatever, but we had to abide by that RRE, that rule of engagement. So because you have a threat, doesn't necessarily, or a possibility of a threat and your life is on the line, or you know what I mean, or you have to deal with bullshit, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't give you the right to mistreat any person. You know what I'm saying? You have to deal accordingly. But it's such a fine line. This is the reason why a lot of times, even also in the military, we saw this. We saw this with soldiers, you know what I'm saying, desecrating the bodies of people that were, you know, trying to kill us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they were, you know, many occasions of you know, times where military guys are going in and, you know, like, quite literally, you can go from this is the crazy part about it, man. It is stressful. But we signed up. This is a volunteer force. Nobody made you. There's no conscripts. You know what I mean? You have to deal with this. This is what you signed up for, man. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, from 1 minute, you know, honestly, by the laws of warfare, 1 minute you can have a guy literally trying to kill you and your buddies and have killed you, your buddies, or possibly maimed you. But as soon as they get to the point to where they giving up, They've given up. They're throwing their weapons away. They're surrendering. They're no longer posing as a threat. Guess what we have to do? We have to provide medical aid to them. That's the law of the land. That's the Geneva Conventions. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of soldiers have problems with that, and it is no different from the police. You know what I'm saying? And they have problems. You're dealing with somebody that's cussing you, spitting on you, whatever the case may be. That still doesn't give you the right, man, to freaking use deadly force on this person or treat them less than a person at the end of the day. And these are foreign combatants. These aren't foreign citizens. These are American citizens. At the end of the day, you should have some more, empathy when it comes to your own.
It go down back to the racial privilege of the police force and how it's tied to the slave catchers, of the day. Right. Because at the end of the day, if a white woman was spitting on a cop or coughing on a cop, they ain't gonna get kicked in the face. That's right. The reality.
So the black people,
black people don't have the footage of that. We definitely don't have the footage of a black cop taking it that far against any white woman. And we can watch the videos of them swinging on them. What was it? January 6th, the guy running up the stairs away from the white folks. You know what I'm saying? It's just different situations, different strokes, different folks.
So here's the just real brief, and then we're gonna pivot to New York. This is the statement released by the Atlanta PD. Chief Bryan and commanders within the APD became aware of a video posted on social media showing an Atlanta police sergeant kicking a woman in her head. Wait a minute, a sergeant? Didn't we just talk about sergeants?
Yeah, I mean,
upon reviewing the video, the decision was made to relieve 2 employees from duty pending a full investigation. The Atlanta Police Department's Office of Professional Standards, which I seen a video of the Professional Standards Director at DPD. This office in Atlanta was directed to open an investigation into the incident, and their investigation was to be expedited. That Office of Professional Standards full investigation has since concluded. Based on a review of all facts, it was determined that Sergeant Mark Theodore's actions violated department policy, and he acted outside of APD standards and training. The decision was made to terminate employment of the sergeant on August 2nd. The investigation also concluded that Officer Bridget Citizen did not violate APD's duty to intervene policy. Our expectation, now they said that she did not violate the policy, but their expectation is that employees intervene in ongoing active situations. In this case, the kick occurred one time and then ceased. It was also determined that the officer Citizen brought the incident to the attention of a supervisor at a short time after the incident. She has since been returned to full duty status. I want our officers and the public to know that I do not take terminating employees lightly, but I also understand that the Atlanta Police Department must be held to the highest standards. With that comes accountability, and when the department's policy is violated, accountability must be held. Considering all the facts, I support the findings and recommendations made in this case. So we look forward to a similar discussion, right? Around Mr. Q, because I think Mr. Q, because I think his stuff is ongoing. Yeah. His little study, study for him.
And it's amazing, dude. Because again, the female officer was right there and witnessed a black male kick a female that was handcuffed on the ground. You know what I mean? Because none of that mattered. None of that mattered at the end of the day, because it's a us versus them. Us versus them situation. It's no different than, and it's funny, man, because like Huey Newton, the Black Panthers, we talked about this. Like, we are being treated like an occupied force. That's how it works in the military, bro. Like, seriously, being an infantryman, I have an understanding of the mentality that goes into it. I remember shortly after when we took over Iraq in 2003, I was stationed at a headquarters unit in theater in Qatar, and shortly, I mean, like within a month, you know what I'm saying? Because the Iraqi army pretty much just like fell away.
Okay.
And freaking, so we were searching people. We were searching for heads of state. Obviously, we were searching for Saddam. We were searching for different military people. Blah blah blah. And I literally just when I saw the images, of our soldiers kicking down people's doors. We were literally kicking people's doors down in their compounds. Civilian doors, right? You know what I mean? And it immediately brought me to the freaking 80s, seeing those images of us kicking down doors doing drug raids.
Oh yeah, it's the
That's
same deal.
exactly. And guess what? I wasn't far from it because many of the people from the police department, you know what I'm saying, became defense contractors and was teaching the military the tactics that they used, you know, in urban settings, you know what I'm saying, freaking in that particular setting. So it's almost like a cyclical, guys. You know what I'm saying? And then they take those tactics, you know, and then they give military equipment from the Army and Marines and so on and so forth in tactics, and then they train the, you know what I'm saying, the SWAT officers and the police officers, you know what I'm saying, you know, and many of them times there are one and the same, you know what I mean, and it goes back and forth,
Okay.
you know, and it's just like, wow, it's mind-boggling, dogs, just seeing this in real time, you know what I mean.
So I guess with that being said, just seeing that in real time and just kind of pivoting back toward this police thing and kind of looking forward, the big thing that we're seeing here is essentially that, like we say with the title of of today's show, right? You know, I don't know you, you're not my ally, and that can extend to people who look just like you. I don't know you, you're not my ally. And I think that we already know that people who don't look like us are the highest degree of suspect in most cases, including governors, including people who are in places of power, like running organizations that have nothing to do with our lineage, that have no rooting in our justice claim, and don't even have any rooting in anything that's for us or directionally correct to help us, because they can go against us and have a multi-billion-dollar nonprofit doing that, right? But let's pivot towards what happened in New York. Stedman, what happened in New York? What's going on, man?
So, what was it, like last week, couple days ago? Andrew Cuomo formally resigned his post as governor after Letitia James, Attorney General of the state of New York's 165-page report detailing how he had sexually harassed 11 women. One of those women, a former employee, he took punitive measures, retaliatory measures against her. Lindsay Boylan is her name. So he basically resigned in shame. Like, you know, he was going to say, hey, I'm not leaving. This is untrue. He tried to do this whole thing with, I'm affectionate with everybody. He posted pictures of him hugging and kissing all these different people, men, president, whatever. And so news broke that the woman who is she was the director for Time's Up, Me Too. He contacted her. Her name is Roberta Kaplan. She's a lesbian white woman. He contacted her to get assistance with dealing with this media story. And so she recently resigned. And then the guy who was the head of the Human Rights Campaign, which is an LGBT advocacy organization, he's a black man. His name is David. Alfonso David. I don't know if he's a freedman, descendant of freedmen, or if he's a diasporan, or if he's a continental African. But he was a long-time Cuomo counsel, and he's mentioned in the report about 36 times personally, 36 or 38 times. And so what you see is all these different groups of people who are supposed to be allies to minorities, to the poor, the downtrodden. They all fit into the elite category, and so they all scratch each other's back. Now, I guess to her credit, I guess if you could give credit to somebody in this situation, you know, Roberta Kaplan, apparently all she told Cuomo to do was to just come out and open and admit what you did was wrong. But a lot of people are having a problem with the fact that he felt comfortable to contact her in the first place. And we already saw with this last election cycle, washed up actress Alyssa Milano, who's essentially only claim to any type of current fame or notoriety was the Me Too movement, quickly removed Me Too from her Twitter bio which that's like the book of judgment when you going into heaven, your Twitter bio. She removed Me Too from her Twitter bio when Joe Biden was accused by Tara Reid of sexually assaulting her in the Senate. And so what you see is like there is and I try to talk about this a lot, the social engineering aspect. When you look at feminism, when you look at a lot of these movements, the gay rights movement, right? All these, even Black Lives Matter. What happens is these groups and these people who head these groups, Human Rights Campaign, these people are able to be bought. And this is what we talked about when you said, a black city with a black cop. How can a black city with black police chief or whatever and all this allow for these types of actions to happen, right? How can these types of things happen to the citizenship? And the reason is because just like what's going on in Afghanistan and like what Gerard was talking about, you see in America, Black Americans, descendants of freedmen, Negroes, American Negroes. What we do in this country is we subsidize the white elite and the white middle class. That's what we do with our resources, with our labor, with our bodies, right? And to that same extent, on an international level, the poor of the world subsidize the U.S. imperialist state in those same ways. Because what you're seeing now with Afghanistan, they say Afghanistan might have enough lithium that could be the Saudi Arabia of lithium, right? Wow. So it's a continued process wherein the elites want more resources at any cost. And so what people have learned to do, the mob does this. I mean, this is not a new idea. It's easier for you to pay off one person to oppress the masses than it is for you to give justice and equality to the masses, because you want as much resources as you can. So if I want 100, but I can give you 20 and keep 80, I'll do that rather than lose 50 or 60 because I can't fight all y'all. And this goes back to
rather give 80 and only keep 20, right?
And this goes back, right? And this goes back to our conversation with Bacon's Rebellion, right? So what you see is gay, white women, Asian. The cop was Asian. I don't know if we ever said it. He was Chinese.
Oh, okay.
And so what you see is everybody is fine to come to America, to be in America, and walk on the backs of black people, the American Negroes, who made this whole situation possible. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. They call this is why when people say representation matters, and people have heard me lampoon this idea, because it doesn't matter. When you got whether you have a black Batman or black Superman, whether you have a black president, it doesn't matter. What matters is what people do for you and your community. That's the important thing. And so what you see is these elites scratch each other's backs. Supposedly being gay is the new black. Right?
Oh, yeah, right. No.
Supposedly being Asian is the new Negro, right? Asian abuse is the new abuse in America. But what you find, if you scratch below the surface, what you find is the same people who have always been oppressed in this country are still being oppressed today. Every time you see a new group come over, and this is no knock to anybody, because a lot of the reasons that we have as influx of immigrants, they're talking about 30,000 Afghan refugees.
Yeah, I heard about that.
America soon. The reason they come here is because our country destroys their countries, whether it's South America, Central America, whether it's the Middle East, whether it's Africa, whether it's Asia. And the reason this happens is because the American government understands that they need to create a buffer between us and them, us being American Negroes and them being those with money and power.
Yep.
It's Bacon's Rebellion.
It goes back to Bacon's Rebellion. It's just now it just changes. You know what I'm saying? Back then it was the indentured servant poor whites being a buffer. You know what I mean? But now they've kind of moved into the upper echelons of society. You know what I'm saying? As a whole, at least the original ones did.
They found different marginalized communities,
right? And then they constantly be immigrating that like you said, that buffer class. After slavery, it was the Irish. You know what I mean? During slavery, during slavery, as well as after slavery, was the Irish and Eastern Europeans. That's where we got as a kid, I freaking loved American freaking Tail. Fievel and with the and the Russians and Russian Mouse and all of that. But at the end of the day, you're not aware of that, Darville?
No.
Man. I'm like,
Fievel goes west, baby.
Fievel, right? That was a sequel. That was a sequel, right?
Oh, yeah.
Ernest, you hit?
No.
Okay.
You don't know about Fievel?
It's 50-50. Stem and agree. Yeah.
I know Ernest too young.
Y'all too young. Y'all too young. Go check it out. It's a Disney story, but nonetheless, it's supposed to be an immigrant story, right? They use mice and pigeons in place of Russian Orthodox Jews. You know what I mean? And yeah, exactly. This came out in the late 80s, early 90s. But anyways, and that's and they always, i.e. Biden, right, wants to, that's the American story, right? You got the the immigrant that came here with $1 in his pocket at Ellis Island, and they made a way for themselves and blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? But like Martin Luther King said, like, look, listen,
millions.
You know what I'm saying? You had the people here that got brought here would be not through their own will. You know what I mean? But while you wasn't giving justice to them, you was giving away free land in the West. You know what I'm saying? The people who just came off the boat, and then you gave them land grant colleges, and then you gave them all this and this and this and that. And then now, you know what I'm saying? Now they listen, how, by the time the 60s roll around and afterwards, well, damn, nigga, why ain't you done nothing?
Right. And this is the problem, bro. So many people don't know about the Homestead Act.
Nobody.
They took people straight off the boat from. This is why in Oklahoma and Texas and Nebraska you have so many German immigrants, German last names. They took people straight off the boat and gave them free land, bro. This is why Oklahoma. Does anybody know why Oklahoma is called the Sooner State? Anybody know that?
Talk about it, Stead, because I don't know the exact history. So let's say the federal government had it set up for the land for the Homestead Act. They was gonna give away parcels of land on Friday. We're gonna give away parcels of land on Friday. Okay. What you had to do, you had to cordon off a certain portion of land. It might have been 5 acres, I can't remember. And you had to cordon that off, and then you had to register it with the federal agent to register it was your land. What was happening was people might leave Thursday night instead of leaving Friday so they could get the best pieces of land. And so they left sooner than they were supposed to. So they call it the Sooner State. That's all. Right? That's what that comes from. That's what the Sooner is. And mind you, now we were supposed, Sherman's Act, Field Act 15, right? Field Order 15 was supposed to give us 40 acres in a mule. You know how much that Homestead Act gave people?
10.
No, 160, bro.
Oh,
per family.
And then the government set up, they gave them low interest loans or no interest loans. They built them colleges so they could learn how to work the land. They gave them grants so they could have technology and all that shit. And then you want to say, well, how come black people can't get ahead? We can't even use the programs that were supposedly made for us.
No,
right?
Reparations.
Who's the biggest beneficiary of affirmative action? Which group? White women.
They made us sharecroppers after they gave them all that land.
Right. And we talk about sharecropping, but you know how insidious that is?
Yeah.
Sharecropping is essentially serfdom. Like it's medieval. Because what would end up happening with sharecropping? They did this with the guys at the coal mines in like West Virginia. So with sharecropping, you had to take whatever tools you used, whatever seeds or whatever, you had to buy that from the person whose land you were working. That's the share part. You borrowed this land from your former master to work, and you gave them the bulk of what you grew as payment for them letting you work the land. It wasn't
buy, bro. It was rent.
Well, not buy. I didn't say buy. I said they let you use it. No.
You rented
and everything that you grew. You might have had to give them 90% of what you grew whatever the crop you grew was.
Everything was a loan. Everything was a loan. So all your tools, everything, you staying there on the land, right? You was renting the land. You know what I mean? So you staying in your house. You know, they would give you a section where you had to, subsistence farming, right? You know what I mean? So you got to grow your own crops, but everything else that dealt with, crop development, you know what I mean? You were loaned out at the company store or at you know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? So you getting this, so you ain't got no money, so all this is on credit, right? You know what I'm saying? So you getting this, on credit to be able to do everything. You grow the crops, you turn the crops in, obviously to some wholesaler. You know what I mean? It's the wholesaler, whether it be cotton, tobacco, whatever. It's obviously a wholesaler is going to get it from the individual, manufacturers, right? Individual farms. You know what I'm saying? And it was obviously it was a price per whatever,
bushel,
bale.
man.
Right.
Yeah.
Some standard price. And that shit fluctuated up and down. Some years it would be high, some years it would be low. But here's the thing: when it came down, you always settled by the end of the year, and somehow your ass always still end up fucking owing.
Yeah,
you
had to give your former slave master, whose land you was working,
right,
80 to 90% of the money you made, and with that other 10% you had to live on, and then buy new stuff. Right, you had to re-up new stuff
next year. So you like, damn, fuck, man, I'm down. I ain't, what I'm saying? I came into this year, you know what I mean, already down, but shit, I'm even further down. You know what I'm saying? So I got to work harder, more, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? It's like you never got out of the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you never got out. That's why niggas just left.
So, Ernest, go. What you were gonna say? Now I got.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I was gonna say we could even fast forward and just say we got excluded from the New Deal and the GI Bill, and with those, that was still immigrants coming off the boat, getting those benefits in the 40s, 60s, you know what I'm saying, 40s, 50s, and black people was locked out of this. So these are the same immigrants, these are the same minority. This the kicker though. Black people was like, you know what? We tired of white folks getting this, so let's open up the immigration to everybody.
What?
And then those same elites said we're gonna reverse Baker's rebellion their ass.
We're gonna put a black face on it.
Yeah, use a different class.
We're gonna put a black face on it. We're gonna put a color face.
Latino or Asian, Latino Asian first, and then now we seeing it with the black face. So that's
it's gonna be a color. It's gonna be a color version because Bob, maybe they might feel our pain. They may understand what I'm doing.
I hope we didn't advocate wherever like that.
Yeah, man.
Wherever they come from, they did. Wherever they come from, they're the elites. Wherever they come from. But Robinson Hood said his parents were sharecroppers in Hollandale, Mississippi, from 1920 to 1960, and they could never pay their debt off, and they had to sell moonshine to make ends meet. And so this is a situation. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why many of us are up in the north because our people said, "Fuck that." Let's get the fuck on, man. Let's go. We'll go work in a factory. You know what I'm saying? Up here in Michigan.
Right.
Which my granddad called. He said they call it a plant. That sounds like a plantation to me.
Well, that's what it is. That's what that's where that works.
You know what? That's a good point.
The hierarchy is the same.
Yeah. And then you had immigrant whites, right? You had immigrant whites saying, I don't want to work with this nigga. He can't, you know what I'm saying? So then you know what I'm saying? So like my granddad and them, they had to work in the foundries. They had to work where they was smelting the iron to make steel. You know what I mean? And breathe in all them freaking nasty ass, filaments and chemicals. And the man died early. This is my grandfather. It ain't that long ago. You know what I mean? That was my daddy's daddy, right? He died before he was freaking 75. You know what I'm saying? But again, there was certain jobs that today, me, Darvell, we both work for a major automobile company. We are white collar now. You know what I'm saying? But we are probably the grandsons, the third, maybe even Darvell case, great grand. You know what I mean? Because I'm like 10 years older than he is. You know what I'm saying? We're like third, fourth generation removed from this. You know what I'm saying? And we're working as white collar people in these automobile plants. But when our ancestors came up here in the 30s and the 40s, they had to work these menial jobs. You know what I'm saying? So now they probably be smiling on us working, the jobs that we work from now, where I can work, from the internet and pretty much barely go into the office, That's a white collar job, bro. That niggas didn't have that type of. We didn't have that type of job.
Yeah,
you know.
My grandfather actually, my mother's dad, man, he started working for Ford. He was 16.
Wow.
He lied about his birthday, and he worked for Ford for 4 years, and then the Korean War broke out, and he went to Korea, and then he came back and he worked for GM at the hydromatic plant for like 36 years. But yeah, man, I mean, you know, that's
40-something years working in for the automobile industry, and that's what many of us here in Detroit. We that's where our ties are at.
Well, see, and that's what allowed. I got a book I want to try to find, but that's what allowed us to get into the middle class. The black Detroiters had a quality of life either better than or comparable to New York City white people, right? And so this is why it was so important for the NAFTA laws to pass. Right. Bill Clinton, Joe Biden did this to undermine the Democratic Party in general, shifted entirely. I mean, you did when you look at guys like, if I'm not mistaken, Hubert Humphrey, guys like that, they were liberal Democrats. They were liberal. They had a mind to try and help black people legitimately. They were generally concerned with the causes, the issues concerning the black people. I'm not trying to apologize for Democrats in any way. I'm just trying to set the tone. And so Clinton started that third way shit, where essentially, in order to win in conservative districts, Democrats adopted a more conservative strategy, right? So they would pay lip service to progressive policy or progressive ideas. But then when it came time for action, they passed laws. Joe Biden, for example, every crime bill that passed since 72 when he got into the Senate had his name on it. The cuts to welfare, the cuts to food stamps, that was all done with Joe Biden. Right. That was done with Joe Biden and Bill Clinton. You see what I'm saying? And so we have to understand it through that context. These people try to act like they're your friends and they've always done us good. And they haven't. They haven't been and they don't. You see what I'm saying? Even just to get back to the Cuomo situation. You look at this and you look at how the media treated Trump when people had accused Trump of anything, bro. It was front page news at every hand.
Always was. And that's what irritated me.
And so what you see is that they never had an interest for justice. And so this is what we're working with. When we talk about advocating for reparations and justice and equality and freedom, right? When we talk about advocating for justice and freedom, you talk about this whole idea of you're not an ally. We don't recognize you. You're unfamiliar to me. We have to understand it through that context. Sean King, you know, and I don't know, you know, people say he's not black, he white or whatever. I try not to get into that because that's unimportant. What I do know is the brother's asking to raise money to move out of an $800,000 house. How do you have an $800,000 house and all the jobs I ever seen you have was for the Huffington Post and shit? They're not paying money, bro. You're activists. How do you have $800,000 house? What? To move. And now they said it's for a clothing line. Yeah, now they said it's for a clothing line, bro. Patrice Cullors, you got $4 million homes. You see what I'm saying? These people are parlaying our struggle, and they have done that because they know we don't know better. We're not educating ourselves, right? They parlay our struggle into lucrative opportunities. The other two women from Black Lives Matter, one of them got a book deal, one of them teaching a class, a producer for a show. I mean, this is what we got to understand, bro. These people, they might not be sellouts because they never bought into the struggle. They've always been self-seeking. Look at AOC, bro. Look at what she talked cash shit when she was running. Oh, we gonna get in here and do this. We gonna make them. And the second you have the opportunity to flex any muscle at all,
title of the show, Stan.
Bro,
I know you and you're not my ally.
It never happened. You see what I'm saying? Everything. Look at Ta-Nehisi Coates, bro. He wrote one good book, one halfway good book, a lot of good articles for the Atlantic, and then doing bullshit. And now he just gonna he done completely got, come on, bro.
Hey, I think he writing the new the Black Superman.
Yeah, man.
He got his zipper.
You don't need no Black Superman, bro. If I got a black superhero, this is the problem for me with all the supernatural shit. If I got a black Superman, bro, we still got racism and police brutality, and we don't have reparations, you just as bad as everybody else, bro.
Fuck it. Hey, and that's what it comes back down to. Glad that you put it, bro, because that's what the black cop is. That's what the black face in high places is, right? It's symbolism, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? How the hell do we have an 85% black city, but you know what I'm saying? But not more importantly, black officials, so on and so forth, and this is going on. You know what I mean? It's, you know what I mean? Because you put a black face in a high place, i.e., black Superman or you know, whatever you want to call
Black
it,
Batman,
you're not
Black
using your
Panther
powers.
shit.
You're not using your powers on the benefit of your people, using your powers on the benefit of yourself at the end of the day. Because that's what it comes down to, man. When that black cop kicked that black lady in the face and that other black woman watched him kick her in the face. And guess what? When they asked her, hey, well, you know, you kicked that lady in the face. What did he say? No, I didn't. Because he didn't know he was being filmed. But he knew that his compadres were going to repeat that story. You know what I'm saying? Because it's about them versus us. Because once you get part of the apparatus of the system, you look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? You like, oh, these niggas acting crazy and wild and blah, blah, blah. These motherfuckers, fuck them. I deal with, you know what I'm saying? You know, these crazy ass niggas, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Yes, because that's the result of the pathology and of the systematic racism that's happened to us. That's what we produce these type of people. You know what I mean? That lady should be in the hospital. That lady should be getting some medicine, some help. Or that person should be getting some medicine, some help. But guess what? In the state of Michigan, I know this personally, firsthand knowledge, because my mother worked in the freaking system. You know what I'm saying? Governor Engler closed all of the freaking, you know what I'm saying, state hospitals and public hospitals that dealt
Wayne
with
County General.
Right.
Wayne County General on Michigan Avenue, bro. Right there in Westland. It was 26 hospitals, A to Z.
Yeah.
My grandma worked there.
Hey,
I know, man. We spitting.
I do want to. I know. I want to. Like, I gotta touch on this, Sean. Y'all put me on to this Sean King thing, fundraiser for Sean King. Y'all killing me, dog. Y'all found it. Fundraiser for Sean King requests assistance to move out of his $842,000 New Jersey house. Listen, the controversial activist says his family must move out of their house. He said that in a social media post that he is being forced to move. Since he said that, his Twitter and his Facebook and Instagram have all gone private and been taken down. Then he's saying that his home's address and pictures of his home have been posted and published by the New York Post and various other outlets. The house, which is reported to be over 3,000 square foot, is located in North Brunswick, New Jersey. It has 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a gourmet kitchen, and a backyard situated on a lakefront.
Bro,
November in the name of his wife, who I'm not going to try to pronounce. Now, the thing that goes on to say, this is the thing. This is a yo man. But the thing that it goes on to say, his dude said, listen, today I've had to make a heartbreaking decision. After a combination of Fox News, New York Post, and other outlets posted pictures of my home across the internet, we've now seen our address posted all over the internet. Strangers have already started by my house. The kids can't even go outside and play during the final month of summer break. So we're
whoa.
That's Lee Merritt. You see your boy Lee Merritt, the ambulance chaser, numero. I don't know who worse, him or your boy Daffy Duck from Tallahassee. I can't remember his name now.
Yeah, I know.
Philonia Floyd and John Floyd.
Listen,
they brought up Tamir Rice and his mom.
He did. So numerous publications and critics have previously called into question the methods of how King was able to purchase the house in the first place. News of his planned relocation came on the heels of ridicule earlier this year from Samir Rice, the mother of Tamir Rice. Now, what's interesting is that Rice, he done something else. King, while King stated that his wife, who was pursuing a PhD, purchased the house with the help of an FHA loan.
FHA loan? Get the fuck out of here, nigga.
Black Enterprise reported that King had asked his followers to send money to his wife via Cash App and Venmo on his Facebook page to alleviate some pressure from her as she finishes school. At the time of that post about his wife, he had been vacationing in the Caribbean with his family. So I'm surprised that Black Enterprise brought that up. He's like, gift or nah, Sean King lives it up in luxury Jersey estate while begging for money for his wife. And just so y'all know, because I mean, since we sliding over here into your man's on accident here, just so y'all know, I don't want y'all to forget what's going on here. Let me scroll this down.
Drifter.
Blue, 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 blue.
Oh man, that's crazy. That house cost
living like a white man.
Hey, that crazy? No, nigga, we got houses in fucking Palmer Woods look better than that. But
I know, but I'm saying,
yeah. But it's
New
crazy.
Jersey though.
I couldn't look at no house for that much, bro. My wife been trying to buy a house for 2 years, bro. 2.5 years, me and wife been trying to buy a house, man. I've been working for 15 years, man.
Oh, yo.
I can't find shit.
Transracial?
I got a problem. Hold on. I got a problem. I can't even zoom in, bro.
It's here.
What is this? What is
transracial?
Is that a new term, like transgender? Yeah,
you know, that's what they say, bro.
Yeah, it's people who they
said Rachel Dolezal created it. You know?
That means, so you get if you changing your race.
Oh, that's what you fucking feel like changing. It's not because you're mixed.
This the Dave Chappelle joke, literally. Like this is that if you're white but you really identify as black, you could be transracial. And it's been someone in the UK who actually pulled it off with Koreans, a white person.
Bro. He got his eyes changed, bro.
It's what's her face? Who's my chick?
Changing everything, bro.
Yeah.
He got Korean citizenship.
Yep. He changed
like Ali something or whatever.
Yeah, Ali. Yep, you're right, Stedman. What? He identified as transracially Korean. And when it got,
but here's the thing, and I don't want this show to get off the rails, but the only thing I say, because they talk about this with the transgender situation, there is an argument you can make in support of transgender people that you can't make in support of transracial people. And any criticism that you have for transracial people, you have to apply to transgender people. They are, in my opinion, ideologically they're the same. So I'm not going to ask any of us to state our opinions about transgender people. That's not the nature of this show. But what I want to the wider audience who want to talk about acceptance, if you believe a man can be born in the wrong body and be a woman, you have to believe a person can be born in the wrong skin and a white person can be black or vice versa. You got to believe it.
Nah, you can't be a freeman there. You gotta have a timeline attached to you.
You know?
It don't matter how
I'm saying I don't agree with it. You know?
Hey, I just made a whatchamacallit. Let me remove this. I just made a whatchamacallit. What is this thing called again? Clubhouse. I made a clubhouse called Sean King is Transracial.
It's the after hours. So hey everybody, subscribe, get the notification bell, and let's go over to the clubhouse where Darvell is at. We're about to get it popping.
That's how you do it.
But this is the book I was telling y'all about. It's Black and Blue, African Americans, the Labor Movement, and the Decline of the Democratic Party with Paul Freimer. And all it breaks down. For example, it says, in the 30s or the 40s with the labor movement, 1 in 5 members was black or something like that. 1 in 6 members of the labor movement was black in the 30s and 40s. They said by the 80s or 90s, it was like 4 out of 5 or 3 out of 5 was black. Right. And so that's really when the Democratic Party shifted its interest, trying to do that NAFTA thing, trying to get away from being the party of working people. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, but yeah, this Sean King shit, bro. It's a shame, man. And I mean, we may not have time to get to what we're trying to get to, but even with the Obama shit, bro, he having this party.
Let's jump right into it right now, Stead. Go ahead.
Man, no.
You are listening to your man's now. This your man's. Hey, yo, who man's is this? Hey, yo, who man's is this? Hey, yo, who man's is this?
Whose man's is this? I need to know. I really need to know.
All right. We had to
Hey,
hit
Ernest.
the intro.
I gotta tell you something, bro. I
Yeah.
just looked at like the last time we did the show. I looked at the video like intensely the whole, and I just realized that fake vaccine shot in there, bro.
Yeah,
And I just want to tell you, dog, I love that shit, bro. I love it, bro, because that's up my alley, bro.
Fake vaccine shot.
Speaking of vaccines, I mean,
Hey,
what
I
we
got
talking
mine,
about?
baby. I got
Hey,
Hey, I mean,
watch
Barack
him
got
put it
his
in.
vaccine. Yeah, Barack got his vaccine too.
I mean, he got his vaccine, but did all his people get his vaccine? Because apparently 74 of them got some COVID.
Yeah.
Bro. Hey.
Hey, what?
That's wild, bro. He just flaunting rules and shit, bro. He living his best life and niggas is dying, bro.
Mm-hmm.
All the policies that he implemented set black people back to segregation. Black home ownership rates right now are at pre-desegregation rates. The 50s, bro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Under his watch, black wealth went what was it? Black wealth fell to the lowest number. Well, I said since segregation, white wealth is up. What are they? White people make up like $100 trillion of wealth now.
Yeah,
when
but
it was
like,
only like
they went
60
up
or
by
70.
31. Yeah, 31 trillion during this administration, though.
Bro, I mean, and I hate that he's around, bro. Like he something about him, his smiling face, his teeth, everything. It just makes my mood bad. You know what I'm saying? That's really what happened. Like when I see him, when I hear about it, it makes me have a bad mood. Because black people still love this man. They still believe that he was doing stuff for our interest, bro. My little sister got married last year, and we had to be nervous having a wedding at her in-laws' house, and this motherfucker having a party with hundreds of people. I post that picture of the tent, bro. He lives on a 30 or 40 acre estate on Martha's Vineyard. The tents they had put up was bigger than the house.
Man, woo, look at that. That tent,
is bigger than the house. Fuck this man, bro. He's never been with you ever. Not ever. He ain't never been with us. Ever.
Crazy.
All he did was parlay his biracial. I can say I'm black because, I look like this. I got a black wife. And he parlayed that to the presidency. He never, ever cared about the most he ever cared about any black issue was when he fake cried after Trayvon got killed. That's it. That's the most he ever gave a fuck.
Hey man, have y'all seen that 3-part series on HBO with Obama?
No,
man. I hate to hear his voice, bro.
Hey, kid. Man. hey, dude, man. The shit that kind of blew me away was the fact that somebody was like, "Yeah, you knew he was ambitious." You know what I'm saying? Because he said, "Who writes autobiography about themselves at the age of 30?"
This a narcissist, man.
Hey, dog, like for real. And then he ran against Bobby Rush and all this shit. Bobby was like, "Man, I thought we was cool."
Oh, word.
Yeah, man. It's a whole bunch of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole bunch of shit. So like, he lost that. He lost that race. He lost that race or whatever. But then
he failed up to senator.
Yeah,
he fell up to senator. Oh my god.
Failed. Yeah. I mean, like it shows a lot of the people he fucking crossed, dog. You know what I'm saying? So like, he had ran for some local race. The lady was it was like a state senator seat. So but prior to him becoming the senator of Illinois, the only elected office he ever had was a state senator seat. Was a state senator seat, right? And so a black female had that state senator seat prior to him, and so she was running for the U.S. congressional seat, right? So whatever it was, she lost the primary. Or what have you, and so she was like, she wanted her state senator seat back, right? What the hell, y'all?
Chrissy Teach, you know.
Hey,
So-
find that video, Erica Badu dancing next to Obama. Bomb dropped so many bombs during his presidency, we ran out of bombs. And she want to act like she's some kind of enlightened individual. Bro, that pisses me off, bro.
Is that her?
Erica Badu, she on the shit. That's her right there, her big ass head with them crystals and shit. And you want to hang out with this motherfucker and you acting like you down.
Yeah, that's the problem, man. Look at all the black celebrities that was there, you know. That's
John
what
Legend want to act like he down. His wife was telling a 16-year-old to kill herself.
Right.
Bro.
So in this documentary, right, it shows up.
Yeah.
So Obama, so the first person he crossed, or what have you, again. So the lady left her state senator seat. Again, this is the only office that he held prior to him being the senator of Illinois. So freaking, she had left the seat. She was going for a congressional district, a federal congressional seat. She lost the primary, so you know she wanted to come back to her seat. And Obama told her, "Fuck no, bitch." He was like, "Hey, you done left it. No, that's not the agreement." So you know what I'm saying. So he had to go against her. He won. So he ended up going to the state Illinois Senate seat, right? Then he parlayed that and going against Bobby Rush. And Bobby Rush was like, you know, this was again another federal, congressman seat, right? Your House of Representatives. He was like, man, I thought me and Obama was cool. You know what I mean? Like I met him, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. You know. But he's like, but you ain't gonna beat me. You know what I mean? You know, like I've been in the struggle since the 60s. I was with Fred Hampton. You know, I done took real FBI shots and all of that. Like, you ain't gonna beat me. But Obama thought that he was vulnerable in some type of way, and he went against him. But he lost. Okay. Then there was a black female senator of Illinois. Yeah. I remember her when they showed the documentary. I was like, yeah, I do remember her. So she lost her congressional. She lost that seat. She lost the Senate seat to somebody else. Then Obama came around. So, but she was going to try to be reelected. You know what I'm saying? She was going to, she lost the seat, and then she was going to try to get the seat back. But Obama at this point in time, he had been the state senator for a while. Now, the position is open, and so he went for it. And so she just chose to say, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to let him get it. I'm going to let him, compete for that senator seat. And then from there, that kind of catapulted him up, right? And then when he decided to, now then, because of this whole story about him and his father, you know what I mean? He ends up going, because he's a freaking senator at the time. He ends up going to Kenya, you know what I mean? So now he goes on an international visit as a senator, a U.S. senator to Kenya, and he's getting treated like a freaking like a damn celebrity. And what was his name? What was that priest out in South Africa, dog?
Desmond Tutu.
Desmond Tutu, right? Desmond Tutu. Even he then knew. He was even calling. He's like, yes, when you gonna run for president? He was asking him this shit on camera. So of course he couldn't really say that because he just got elected as a state, as a senator of Illinois. So he gotta play it by the rules and be like, well, no, I'm here for the state of Illinois, blah blah blah. But it was so obvious that somebody who's not even in tune to American politics knew that, okay, man, we know what you're going for. Right. We know that you're going for the White House. We already
even look at how much they was with Oprah. I mean, Oprah was giving them so much publicity and stuff. She had Michelle, because I remember she had Michelle on, and the whole big thing was like, oh yeah, we still live in Chicago because he wants to have a contact with the constituency, so we stay here, and he makes the trip every weekend or whatever. And I mean, dog, that's all it is, bro. And I'll at least say I'm happy, but I'm not overly happy because I don't trust. Wait. I don't trust y'all, the average American voter. But I'm happy that at least y'all didn't fall for it with Kamala, even though y'all fell for it with Joe Biden. At least y'all didn't elect her.
Man,
that would have been horrible.
Hey, Stedman, you speaking too soon, bro.
Hey, yeah, right.
I know. That's why I said I ain't overly happy.
Yeah, you're speaking too soon. Because who's gonna be on the election? Who's gonna be on the ballot this next time around, bro?
Well,
She got,
I mean,
ooh, man.
you know, Trump running again. DeSantis running. He probably. I got a feeling this gonna be if
that's the Republicans.
Yeah, but it's gonna
Who's
be. I
gonna
mean,
be on the ballot for the Democrats?
well, they saying they nervous though, because she's so unlikable. They saying they nervous. She's so unlikable that they saying she might not be able to
get reelected, bro, again in
Who?
2024.
Who?
Trump.
No, man.
Trump.
Come on, man.
I'm calling it too, man.
And he gonna have a different. He gonna have a different running
Darnell,
mate too,
the Democrats got a long way to 2024, and at this point, they fucking it up. That's all.
Hey, so with that being said, can we go? Can we move to our last topic now? I wanted to cover.
Yeah, let's jump into Afghanistan because I mean,
let's jump into
it. Hold on.
I think before we do that, Darville, we should share this screenshot that I got from one of our Michigan representatives before we dive into the situation.
Bloop. Where is that screenshot? I need to show you.
Now let me share my screen.
Okay, let's see what we got.
All right.
They got a. But yeah, man, I think he's gonna win again, bro.
See this?
Zoom it in.
Right.
I can't see it.
Okay. This was today.
The CIA,
that's the ex-CIA chick.
Greetings. As we watch the situation in Afghanistan unfold, I'm especially thinking of all of our veterans, intel officers, civil servants, NGO workers, and Afghan partners who are gutted and concerned for those left behind. The politics, analysis, and Monday morning quarterbacking can come later. Right now, we must focus on holding the airport in Kabul and getting as many people safely out of the country as possible. Here's who they want to aid and give resources to. If you are an American citizen, U.S. citizen who needs to leave Afghanistan, Afghans who were employed by or on behalf of the U.S. government should apply for special immigrant visas for Afghans via Bureau of Consular Affairs if they qualify for the program. For Afghans who work for NGOs, you or your U.S.-based NGO should apply for humanitarian parole or for refugee admission programs. This comes at the heels of Alyssa Slotkin not signing on to H.R. 40 and at the heels of her ignoring the Black Michigan constituents who have the highest disparities in the state. So I just wanted to share that before we jump into Afghanistan, that this is a part of the issue. Like Stedman said, I mean, the U.S. focuses and prioritizes so many immigrants from different countries because of the simple fact that they are involved in the instability of it. But, you know, for us, Black Americans, that's not our priority. Like, if anything, this is getting us more back to the back of the line. So,
Gerard, did you want to share something or no?
Yeah, I did. I have. If you look at the StreamYard, I have it up. Okay, man. So we're gonna
this one real quick.
We're showing it, right?
Yeah, it's up. Just zoom into it if you can. So it's easier.
Okay, man.
I'm sorry.
Y'all miss, man. Hold on, man. It's supposed to be the control button, ain't it?
Yeah, control and scroll up. Hold control and scroll up.
I don't have my mouse.
Scroll down. Oh, you can do it on the touchpad. Just hold the control key and scroll up or down on your touchpad.
It's not doing it, man.
Are you in Chrome or Firefox?
Chrome.
Click in the address bar.
Yeah.
And there you'll see a oh no, it don't come up unless you already zoomed in. All right, man, go ahead.
Anyways, bro, I'm as inept as our fucking government. Anyway, bro, you know, you should be. Hopefully, the war in Afghanistan cost America $300 million per day for 20 years. Big deals yet to come. You know what I'm saying? The Taliban in a shocking blitzkrieg. The fact that they even used that is funny. Have swept through Afghanistan in less than a month. The 300,000, bro, man, Afghan army all but melted away in their path. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, he fled to Tajikistan over the weekend, conceded in a statement that the Taliban had won with the judgment of the swords and guns and now responsible for the honor and property and self-preservation of their country.
Hey, if my math is correct, that's $6 trillion.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Because I was going to say it's 109 109,500,000,000 per year. So times that 20, I'm getting like 2.1 trillion.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go into all of the
That's trillion
costs.
still, yeah.
I'm not going to go into all of the costs, man, but I'm about to bring this up real quick in contrast.
This is wild.
Okay.
This is wild, man.
Do you
What's
see
the-
this
Yep. Support for. Go ahead.
Right. Support for a program to pay reparations to descendants of slaves is gaining momentum, but can come with a 12 trillion price tag. Who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Hey, ain't nobody gonna die. You know, because of it. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's gonna die because of it, man. You know, as a U.S. soldier, man, I served for 23 years between the active duty Army and the Michigan Army National Guard and the Florida Army National Guard. And when I saw the news of what was happening in Afghanistan, bruh, all I could do was just shake my head, man. You know what I'm saying? I joined the service in 1996, in December of 1996. I retired sometime in November or so of 2020. Bro, I've seen a lot of conflict. Obviously this whole thing I've been in the service for this whole thing up until just now, right? And I think about all of the soldiers, all of the families, all of the people, you know, who have, you know, not let's not even talk about deaths, because I think they said it was like 2,300 or something like that of U.S. soldiers, not to include, you know, our allies and civilians and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? But just, you know, people, they don't, you know, you think of deaths, but you got to think about those who are handicapped, been maimed. You know, you got to think about the divorces that happen. You know what I'm saying? You know, the breaking up of families, all of the dysfunction that comes out of this. You know what I mean? All of these problems, right? All to make some freaking defense contractor rich at the end of the day. Because that's who won out of all of this. That's who won. The Lockheed Martins, the Raytheons,
Blackwater, Northrop Grumman.
Right, Northrop Grumman.
E3.
And you know what I'm saying? You know, Oshkosh. You know, you name it. It's so many we can't even name, guys.
Boeing.
You know, Boeing. You know what I'm saying? All of these freaking, they're the ones who made out, dude. You know what I'm saying? Off of milking this for 20-something years. And then to have this happen, and we have Vietnam as an example, you know what I'm saying? Think about all of, you know what I'm saying? That happened before our time frame, before, you know, in our parents' time frame. My question is, when the next time they bring this bullshit up, you know what I'm saying? Who's going to speak louder to talk this shit down, man, and talk about the cost of it?
Nobody.
No, it's going to be me. It's going to be me and hopefully a couple of veterans and hopefully a couple of freaking citizens, you know what I'm saying, to say, like, enough is enough, dude. Enough is fucking enough. You know what I mean? You know, and then you have the nerve to freaking bulk at the cost of what? Over 400 years of oppression by a government to its citizens? You know what I'm saying? You know, we fought this on behalf of other people. These are U.S. citizens we did this for.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking about. I'm like, when we talk about the soldiers who lost their lives in Afghanistan, do we really think that these soldiers signed up to lose their lives for something that was not even threatening America?
Well, at the end of the day, yeah, it wasn't.
And see, and the issue, we always have to really, because as much as we talk about the situation, we have to really try to bring the full context. America created the Taliban. America created Al Qaeda. That created ISIS. Hillary Clinton, I got a video I dropped in the Run a Show where Hillary Clinton says, "Yeah, we had to. The Taliban, we're fighting them. They're an offshoot of a group called the Mujahideen, which were 4 groups in these late 70s, early 80s, who were fighting back against the Afghan government. There was a communist government, right, in Afghanistan, and so the U.S. didn't want that. So Russia invaded Afghanistan in order to help the communist government that was being overthrown by the Mujahideen, right? Because, well, I'll let this play. Let's just play.
Moving in and out of Pakistan. I mean, let's remember here, the people we are fighting today, we funded 20 years ago. And we did it because we were locked in this struggle with the Soviet Union. They invaded Afghanistan, and we did not want to see them control Central Asia. And we went to work. And it was President Reagan in partnership with the Congress, led by Democrats, who said, you know what, sounds like a pretty good idea. Let's deal with the ISI and the Pakistani military, and let's go recruit these mujahideen. And let's get some to come from Saudi Arabia and other places, importing their Wahhabi brand of Islam so that we can go beat the Soviet Union. And guess what? They retreated. They lost billions of dollars, and it led to the collapse of the Soviet Union. So there's a very strong argument, which is, wasn't a bad investment to end the Soviet Union, but let's be careful what we sow because we will harvest. So we then left Pakistan. We said, okay, fine. You deal with the stingers that we've left all over your country. You deal with the mines that are along the border. And by the way, we don't want to have anything to do with you. In fact, we're sanctioning you. So we stopped dealing with the Pakistani military and with ISI, and we now are making up for a lot of lost time.
Yeah, man, I'm very well aware of that. There was a movie that Tom Franks played in that deals with the subject. At the end of the day, it comes back down to we're willing to do everything for every fucking body else except for the original people that were harmed by this government.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Government wasn't even really fully assembled, and it was already harming people.
But like she said, though, it's a good investment to invest in war with extremist terrorist rebels to get rid of Russia. So what? So it's okay to destroy countries all around the world, to take in immigrants and destabilize these countries and destroy the quality of life of these people. Why? To destabilize your own country, to destabilize the oppressed group in your own country, to further disenfranchise the American Negro.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we'll take all the motherfuckers in because, hey, shit, we'll make them the new buffer class to these niggas because that's who we really owe. That's who we really owe something to is them.
And that's why when you look at the policies after the 70s, what she's saying they did over there, that's what they did to our communities. So it was more of a good investment to just really cripple us from politics and being involved like we were going to be to get to where we're at today. You know what I'm saying? These conditions where black folks go along, get along, gang, you know, Obama is God. This is how we moving today.
As long as
they can do no wrong, apparently. You know, the Republicans, the boogeyman, and the Democrats who ruined all of these cities, the NAFTA agreement, apparently they get no blame for their actions.
So listen, I'm looking forward to watching a video that I found on YouTube already that says how the Taliban took over Afghanistan in a week. That's going to be an interesting little watch.
Yeah.
And I think with that being said, I think we hit the nail on the head, right? I mean, every time we look around, we think we got an ally. Y'all should know better by now. That's for every descendant of freedmen in this country. We need people to focus and be alert. Forget this. I used to say, you know, some people think they woke, but are they woke or they just not sleep? I mean, what does that mean? Are you just not sleep or you really awake? Are your eyes open or you just got them closed and you're conscious? You know
how people be in comas, they ain't know they was asleep the whole time.
Cedric the Entertainer had a joke, man, back in the day. This was like in the early 2000s. It was a stand-up special. I can't even remember what it was. But he was talking about, remember you used to be on the phone with a girl, you be up falling asleep. Y'all wouldn't be talking about shit you talking about. You sleep? Nah, I'm sleepy, but I ain't sleep. That's what's happening. You ain't woke. You sleepy, but you ain't sleep. You ain't woke though. You sleepy, you just ain't sleep.
So listen, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I know our people are falling off because they sleepy, as we know, but we got to get them awoke. And so we got to come back to them in 2 weeks and hit them with the new. I want to just let Stedman, Adolph, and then Mr. Ernest close it out with the last words. Gentlemen, just the last quick hit for people before we roll out. Stedman?
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep it short and simple, man. I always try to understand the context of the capitalist system, the American system. Anytime America has a problem with another group of people, you always got to figure out why. It's never for justice. What we see going on in Haiti, it's not about justice, right? What's going on? Trump signed an agreement with the Taliban before he left office. I mean, I thought the Taliban was already in charge. He signed a peace deal with the Taliban when Trump was in office. This shit wasn't new to me, right? It wasn't new to me. So
he said they was just waiting to take over the office, the White House.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? They live there. This is their home, bro. If they want to live in these conditions, you funded it all this time. You got to deal with it. You got to eat this now. So with that being said, man, we got to keep our head on a swivel. That's a football term. Y'all who know. Keep your head on a swivel, man. You got to watch. Right. You got to watch. You got to see what's coming at you. Because it's coming from all sides. Don't fall for the okie doke. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
And always, man, as I always do, man, we have no permanent friends. That was obviously, hit it up in our topic today. We have no permanent enemies either. Hey, we can ally or co-conspirator, for those who really want to do that with us. But we always have permanent interests, man. And our permanent interest is the upliftment of our people, man, via reparations and any other means necessary, as Michael X said. That's our permanent interest, man. So, with all this being said, brothers, love y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? Black is beautiful. Freedman is beautiful. Good night.
Yeah. Yep. And just to follow those lines, I'm going to just say, as a reparationist and as a freedman, priorities. So even if the media throwing all of this Afghan and look at these refugees over here, there's Black American refugees in Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit that need priority. And we don't need to worry about what's going on around the world globally with everybody else because our people have issues that America has chose to ignore or willfully participated in our decline. So with that being said, peace and reparations.
Yep, and to just shut this one down for y'all, listen, as we always say, or as I always say, I want to remind everybody of what we stand for. First of all, go get them damn shots. Get your COVID-19 vaccine. We're not telling you not to get the shot. Second of all, make sure you understand we don't support Donald Trump. Don't be trying to flag us talking about we said Donald Trump going to do this or that. Third of all, make sure you understand these are the opinions of our people on our show, and we're not trying to express anything that's going to harm you and don't necessarily reflect the opinions of the collective as a channel. So don't be labeling somebody's opinion on someone else. And last but not least, remember what does Black Agenda include? It includes reparations. And what is reparations for? Reparations is for a myriad of harms that have been done to us as shown on the screen. Pause this video if you don't know about this. Make sure you download, make sure you read, and make sure you understand. And with that being said, we out of here, y'all.
Peace and reparations.
Peace.
Peace and reparations. I like that.